Starting with the blue chair, Jesus Barrios from San Diego, California. He says he loves Hawaiian bread, especially with butter. Now to the red chair, Joshua Doyle from Valdosta, Georgia. His favorite food is his mom's baked mac and cheese. Yummy. But who will win this bubble match? We shall see, casters.
All right, thank you so much, Jackie. That's right, we have Jesus taking on Joshua. And if you look at your eyes, they don't deceive you. That's a Fiendsmith engraver next to a Rescue Ace Turbulence. That's right, Jesus brought Fiendsmith Rescue Ace, and now he is sitting with an 8-2 record on the bubble here with a chance to win and make it into top 32. His opponent, Joshua, is playing that Bestial Malice deck, but there's also the Fiendsmith cards. This is kind of the new version of Malice that has been really popular over the past couple weeks and has been all over the place here at the YCS this weekend.
I mean, yeah, the Fiendsmith cards just able to splash themselves into any engine that you can find. They are just so useful, being able to just turn any two bodies into this massive resources, being able to put up extra protection from things like Nibiru the Primal Being, while also gaining follow-up in the following turns, really independent of your own strategy, but still synergizes so well with anything that you could be doing.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to like about the deck. And I mean, I think creativity has been the big theme here this weekend at YCS Houston. Like, a lot of popular strategies we've known for the past few months, but the way you play them has changed completely. And those little tech choices, the different themes you're incorporating in, are really the advantages you're going to have in catching your opponents off guard. Because, yeah, everyone is preparing for what they've known to be the best deck, or the dominating decks of this format. So any sort of advantage you can have with hidden technology in your deck will definitely pay dividends and help you find your way to that top cut.
Billy, let's take a second to even talk about Rescue Ace. We haven't seen Rescue Ace in so long, I feel. And not because the deck is necessarily bad, but because some of the other strategies that have come out have just been more popular, just more powerful. And since the Fiendsmith cards came out, I think it fits the Rescue Ace strategy really well, because it does have to make a Link 2 of some kind just to put the Rescue Ace monsters in the grave before you summon the Turbulence. And typically, it would have been just an SP Little Knight to give you that little bit of protection from something along the lines of Reveal the Primal Being. But now that the Fiendsmith cards are there, that's an even more reliable way to give you protection, while also providing more follow-up, providing more interruptions, just everything the deck had asked for. It was just often more found in other strategies. So now we finally get to see how it can play in this deck.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it comes down to, like, playing. It may not be a better deck than Rise Heal, a better deck than Malice, but just a different one. And it's always about playing with what you're comfortable with, what you know, how to take advantage of maybe the unexpectedness of Rescue Ace. Yeah, like you said, it's been a while since people have played against it potentially, so you have that in your advantage. Maybe the side decks aren't as prepared. Cards like Evenly Matched, even though they are getting more popular this format, something that's notoriously good against Rescue Ace, kind of fallen out of favor, so you can have those advantages as well. I mean, it's done Jesus wonders. He's made it here with the opportunity to make top 32 with Rescue Ace, one of my favorite strategies of all time, but he's going to have to defeat Joshua with his more refined Bestial Malice deck. The thing I like about this Bestial Malice deck the thing is that you get to use the Bestial Lubellion. That card is incredible. It gives you access to Branded Regain. Make sure you have that all-important Bestial Magnumit. But we're going to have to find out who is going to go first here in game number 1 of our final round of Swiss at YCS Houston.
All right. Big number? Yeah. All right. Looks like the dice are about to be rolled. Looks like that is a 10 for Jesus. Followed up by a 9 from Joshua, just short.
And then we just put them out here first? Or we just start now? You can start now. Okay. Again.
All right, go on, man. All right, hands are drawn. Jesus will be taking first.
I think my drop is?
Nope.
All right.
All right, going through their faces properly here.
Looks like he's going to start with a Fiendsmith Tract.
Normally, I would say the Rescue Ace is very protected from effects similar to Droll and Lockbird, but I think every time you start with Fiendsmith Tract, it can get a little dicey.
Yep, going to add the Fabled Lure, discard the Fabled Lure.
Change Droll.
Oh, Droll and Lockbird.
Called it.
At least he didn't start with Engraver.
Yeah, it could have been worse. It could have
been much worse. He could be stuck with that Tract in the hand, but at least he'll still be able to special summon this Fabled Lure. Like, if you start with the Tract, the Droll's not as impactful. And a card that's notoriously not super strong against Rescue Ace.
Yeah, normally it would be pretty useless against Rescue Ace. But now, if you didn't have to take the lead with any Rescue Ace cards, I'm wondering how difficult it will be to find access to him.
All right, so the Requiem is going to tribute off the field special summon Lacrima of the Crimson Tears. Lacrima of the Crimson Tears is going to let him send a Fiendsmith Engraver from the deck to the graveyard.
Looks like we're going to be using the Engraver effect to put back the Fabled Lurry here. There's a response. There is a Bestial Magnamut on the Engraver.
Oh, that's not just a Bestial, it's the Bestial here. Going to try and cut off having that Engraver access, so it's going to prevent him from having a rank 6 or a link 2.
He's opting to not activate the Magnamut because of the Droll Lockbird, even though he could technically use the Magnamut here because it can add from the graveyard as well. If a dragon happens to hit the graveyard throughout the turn, you still can resolve it. And it looks like he did have Turbulence, he had Emergency, the best card. You're able to just summon the Turbulence from the deck, and then you have to tribute a Rescue Ace from your field or hand, and we're going to be getting rid of that Airlifter. It's going to be useless through the Droll Lockbird.
Yep, normally a good one. But now it is going to have the Turbulence on the field. So he's going to be able to grab 4 Rescue Ace spell and trap cards.
Normally, this takes up a lot of those spell and trap card zones. But he is taking up 1 from the Requiem. But will he have 4 targets in the deck? Yep, that's 4. Emergency, I think that's Alert or Rescue, and then Extinguish and Contain.
All right. Turbulence is pretty much one of the big reasons to play Rescue Ace, because you're able to access so many cards with just 1 card.
Yeah, we talk about how powerful an individual card resolving is, and Turbulence has to be on the top of the line. Not often you see a +4 instantly.
Yeah, definitely. Does so much. Now we're going to see the Contact Fusion with Lacrima of the Crimson Tears basically turning into that Necroquip Princess.
If any effects from the hand are activated from this point on, we could get an additional draw here, but it looks like we're just going to be linking away into the SP Little Knight using the Necroquip because it's a monster from the extra deck. SP Little Knight gets its additional effect to banish the Bestial Magnamut on the field. All right. Resetting a 5th spell and trap here, locking up all of those back row. The deck's going to be cut, and it looks like it's going to be a pass turn here from Jesus. Not the craziest field, but when you're looking at 5 spells and traps, it can be a lot to deal with.
Yep, SP Little Knight is solid. Now he's going to use Rescue to rescue a Rescue Ace monster from the graveyard.
So he's going to be summoning back Airlifter here.
Drone Lockbird no longer holding him back from adding cards from the deck to the hands. The Airlifter will be activating, but it looks like there's a response from Joshua. He has the Infinite Impermanence.
Will this just be met with SP Little Knight to try to tag them both out? Or he could just chain Emergency here. That's probably the better use. Yeah, we're going to be chaining Emergency, likely getting access to the Hydrant to turn on the additional effects of the rest of your Rescue Ace cards, while also effectively removing the Airlifter from the field.
It is quite the way to dodge Infinite Impermanence.
This is really impactful here. Now having 3 cards taken out of Joshua's hand, the Magnamut effectively null because of his own Droll and Lockbird. And the Airlifter will be able to resolve now because no longer on the field, be negated by the Infinite Impermanence. Going to be adding the Rescue Ace HQ to get even more follow-up on the following turn.
Yeah, Rescue Ace HQ has always been one of the staying powers for Rescue Ace, being able to replenish those spells and traps because you can set so many of them with Turbulence. It's going to be great for follow-up. But it looks like Joshua's seen enough. He's not going to be able to put off the flames, and Rescue Ace saves the day once again. And now Jesus is just 1 win away from... well, there's still some tiebreakers. Maybe some XQs won't make it, but putting himself in the best position he can to make top 32.
I feel like he also managed to not reveal what his strategy is, Joshua, of course, being. He showed a Bestial, a Droll Lockbird, and an Impermanence. You could find those cards pretty much in anything.
Yeah, those are pretty generic cards that any deck would like to use, so it would be tough for Jesus here to side deck properly, not really knowing what is on the strategy side there for Joshua.
I think this is usually what Malice needs to take advantage of, right? Post side, it gets so difficult once they know to put in those Artifact Lanciers, potentially Chaos Hunters of the like. But if you don't have that knowledge, it becomes that much easier to be able to win, especially when you're able to go first.
Yeah, and I think like the B-Seal Malice deck we've seen is the hardest one to anticipate that the Malice cards are there, because even though we didn't see the Fiendsmith cards, there's so many other cards you can see to where it would throw you off. When we saw it yesterday with this same exact kind of deck list, their opponent had no idea there were Malice cards until like halfway through game number 2 when it was too late.
Definitely want to be taking advantage of that right now. You really need to force the game number 3 here. This is the last round here of Swiss for these players.
Yep, this is what it all comes down to. Being X2 going into the last round, notoriously known as the bubble. Will the bubble burst? Will you be able to make it into the top cut? These are the questions running through their head. You can see stoic, focused, locked in. You just got to not let that game 1 loss get you down. You can still win the other 2 games. Losing the die roll was tough there for Joshua, but he'll be going first here in game number 2.
Yeah, you have to imagine, especially getting into this point in the tournament, this is round 11. You've been in this situation at least a few times, right? You've taken 2 losses already, but that can't be the only time you've been forced to go into a game 3, potentially having to go second in going into game 3.
Mm-hmm. Definitely the case. I mean, he almost seems like he's just bored with it. He's like, waiting, let's get this duel underway. I'm ready to go.
I mean, when I'm a Malice duelist and I know I'm about to go first, I'm just waiting for that moment to draw my hand, right? All right, looks like the players are drawing their hands here. About ready to get started. The hands are drawn. Just waiting for the go-ahead here. Looks like the players have the ready to go ahead, and we're going to start game number 2 here of the last round of the Swiss for YCS Houston.
It's time to duel. Will Jesus be able to close it out and clinch his spot in the top 32 potentially, or will Joshua push things to a game number 3? All right, starting off Fiendsmith Engraver.
Again, really doesn't tell anything about your deck.
Except that the Fiendsmith cards are in it.
All right, no Droll and Lockbird here from Jesus. We see Tract able to activate and resolve here. Likely going to be activating that Fabled Lure that we've seen time again. There is Fabled Lure added to hand and then discarded by the effect of Tract, and then able to trigger its effect in the graveyard to special summon itself.
We've
Linking
seen
it away.
time and time again. The classic Fiendsmith combo.
Requiem effect activates. Will there be an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring here? Or no, it's actually a Molcharmi Fualos.
That's even better almost, because you're going to get the drop. But he is called by the grave.
A lot of answers here, a lot of answers here.
Oh, that's tough. You feel good when you see the Molcharmi in your opening hand, but met by called by the grave from Joshua. It's his turn to go first in this game.
I wonder how many responses he has from this point on. If he's able to set up the Wave King High Caesar and then normal summon something along the lines of Malice Dormouse or even Malice White Rabbit, I think Jesus might just want to pack up his cards as soon as he can.
I mean, yeah, once he sees the Malice, if he has the Malice cards on top of all the Fiendsmith stuff, it should be pretty crazy.
When you're already 1 card down, it's pretty much impossible to beat. All right, looks like we're going for sequence here. Trying to bait another interruption out of Jesus. Are we activating Fiendsmith? It looks like it is resolving. Going to be able to put 3 back to fusion summon Fiendsmith Desiree.
There it is. Now do you go into Agman Day? Probably not with Malice. I feel like there's not a lot of room for Agman Day in there, but here comes the Chessy Cat to reveal he is actually playing Malice cards.
And this is perfect because now you have a Link 2 on the field, so it means you can immediately go for a Link 3, but it looks like we're actually activating Chessy here, so we have another extender in the hand.
Yeah, I got you.
This can be a little weak to something along the lines of Nibiru the Primal Being, but I imagine you did have ways to extend, and we are banishing the Dormouse here, so we get maximum value. Dormouse hits the field after paying 300 life points. Looks like we're activating Dormouse as well. Gonna get access to White Rabbit, and once White Rabbit is able to resolve, and getting access to GWC, everything is going to be looking pretty for Joshua.
Yep.
You have GWC 06 being set off the effect of White Rabbit. interruptions from Jesus beyond the Fulos.
Links away the sequence and the Chessy Cat for, I'd imagine, a Link 3 Malice monster. It's going to be Red Ransom.
Red Ransom makes a lot of sense here. You already have access to everything else you need. You might as well just get the additional extender in the Malice and Underground. I think for good measure, I would already activate the sequence now just to make sure the Desiree is live. There could be an infinite permanence down the line, but I guess at this point, it would have happened so many times by now.
He's going to link away his monsters, going to SP Little Knight, banish the Red Ransom from the graveyard, so Red Ransom will special summon back to the field.
And I will not banish.
Yeah, opting to not banish another card from the deck here. Mainly
No Dotscaper.
Yeah, there's no Dotscaper. You still have Malice and Underground if you want to banish Chessie, which is the only name you haven't used yet.
Right now he's going to link away those monsters to link summon Malice White Binder.
On summon,
He's going to be able to banish 3 cards from either player's graveyard on summon. He's going to banish his own Chessy Cat.
Makes sense, getting that last name here, keeping the Malice and Underground in hand just as follow-up. And you get another body on the field.
Pay 300 life points, special summon back to Chessy Cat.
GWC, banish for cost.
Okay, we're already activating GWC to bring back the Red Ransom and being able to gain 2300. Now the White Binder will be able to activate, draw a card, and summon itself back.
Yeah. And then White Binder to come back and draw a card. Yeah.
Looks like everything is going A-okay.
It's got a lot of monsters on the field.
I suppose there is a good amount of time left. I think Jesus just wants to see what else is in Joshua's extra deck, because I can't imagine he's able to break this.
The White Binder lets him reset a trap card from the graveyard, so the GWC06 is going to be right back to where it was. Links away Malice White Rabbit.
To link decoder, I imagine. Yep, there's the decoder. I'm going to be linking away that plus the White Binder as well as the other Malice name.
Make Cryptor.
Into a Link 3 Encryptor. Decoder is able to now come back.
Yeah, Link Decoder.
23 or higher.
23 or higher.
23 or higher.
That's what Jesus is checking.
Yeah. And now you can just link again into what I imagine is just Firewall Dragon? Oh!
It's just Moon. Now
that works as well because it makes a bow because it is a fiend.
There you go. The perfect materials for a Baoq. I love a Baoq from Supreme Darkness. You can be able to discard a card to banish yourself to the end phase, spell summon back a lighter dark monster.
Yep, gonna go ahead and just get use out of that free Malice Underground that we searched earlier and get back the SP Little Knight that we used earlier in the turn as well. And then finally we are able to use Sequence to attach itself to the Desiree.
Comes back in the end phase, right? Yeah.
And then a Baoq will be coming back during the end phase.
I love a Baoq. It's one of my favorite cards.
And I'll move to end phase.
Back comes a Baoq. It also has the other effect that it's a discard. Not only can you special back a lighter dark, you can also choose to destroy a card on the field.
Yeah, very flexible card.
Yeah.
And it banishes itself to the end phase, and it lets you draw cards and put cards back. And
I keep saying that effect sounds good, but if you've made it that far, the game's far over. Like
I mean, with Malice, you always have so many different types. It's like usually like at least 4 cards.
Yeah.
Because you got Fiends, Cybers, Dragons sometimes. But yeah, as you said, Jesus just wanted to see where it was going and what his deck was capable of, so we'll be able to better plan for game number 3, and Jesus is ready to move to that third and final game.
Yep, plenty of time still on the clock here. Just got as much information as he could from Josh's strategy, mainly because he didn't get to have any from game number 1. And now he can make a plan going into game number 3.
Can't go wrong with that. Like even on your turn, like it's full combo even if it doesn't do anything.
All right, Joshua evening out the series. No matter what, this is going to be the final game of our Swiss round 11. One of these 2 players will be putting themselves in a prime position to make top 32 to move into the single elimination portion of the YCS.
Unless they somehow magically draw and eliminate both themselves.
Hey, I've seen it plenty of times before.
I've seen
it in the last round of the World Championship even. 2 players playing tier and just happened to draw, couldn't get the game finished, and neither of them made it. So it's definitely happened. You want to keep that in mind. But we have plenty of time on the clock, so I'd be shocked if these 2 players drew after those 2 quick games.
Both the players have been playing at like a very mindful pace, right? They're just going through their moves, not necessarily at like fast pace, but they're not going slow either, and they're being mindful of like what they need to do. They're not staying in the game longer than they have to.
Yeah. Now, Rescue Ace is an unexpected strategy for sure, but I do think there are some cards that are in people's side decks that will cross over and be useful against the deck. I think because of all the, I mean, even decks like Ryzeal and Malice, Harvey's Feather Dust or Lightning Storm, not bad cards to put in against those decks going second, as they're going to have cards that maybe they're siding in going first, like Solemn Strike and stuff like that, that you can take out with the Mass Spell and Trap removal. So there's going to be some cards in Joshua's side deck probably that will line up decently well into Rescue Ace.
Yeah, I think especially with what you mentioned being the popularity of Solemn Strike, which is a huge counter into a lot of these other decks because they don't naturally have ways to deal with others' sets that they can't force out. So Solemn Strike has been a huge force in locking down games where players are able to go first. So people have been forced to have backward removal, as you mentioned, just to account for those cards being sided in, and those will work fantastically against Rescue Ace.
Definitely. We'll have to see if this duel is going to get a little turbulent, though, here from Jesus. I mean, that Rescue's Turbulence is just a crazy card. The first time I read it, I was like, this is unreal. Like, being able to set 4 spell and trap cards from your deck.
Yeah, surely they make it difficult to summon, right?
Nope. Even it, in fact, got easier to summon as more cards came out for Rescues. As we saw, just Emergency can throw that monster out there so quickly.
I mean, Rescue Ace was definitely one of the strongest decks at some point during its release, especially with access to the Sinful Spoils engine. There was a lot of cards going for it. Hydrant is a very powerful card on its own, being able to amass resources every single turn and also giving those bonus effects to the rest of your cards.
Definitely. I mean, even like if another card leaves the field, destroy one of your opponent's card effect is kind of tough to navigate sometimes.
Yeah, like a lot of these Rescue Ace cards have like that like slight bonus effect that you don't really think about, like the hidden ability, if you will.
Secret effect. Secret effect. Some cards have a secret effect, but not really a secret effect, but ones that don't come up as often as their main effects do, so you always got to look out for it.
Yeah, it's not the one that's usually beating you, so you don't really pay attention to it.
But this is it. We're at the YCS Houston, round number 11, game 3. Only one of these duelists will move on. The other will unfortunately be have to go to the side events, public events.
They tried, yeah.
There's a lot of, I mean, I'm that same way. I try every tournament, but if I lose the second I'm out of the main event, I'm running over to the public events and trying to enter and win just a different tournament. But one of these duelists is ready to win. Let's see who is going first. Did he let Josh go first? No, he is starting things off. The way Josh was looking at his hand, I thought maybe he was the one who's going to lead things off. But
I mean, this is bold, using Infinite Permanence on a Rescue Ace normal summon. But
No.
Is there a Chain Emergency? It doesn't look like it.
So the Imperm is going to negate Rescue Ace Airlifter. Does Jesus have any other way to access more Rescue Ace cards? He does have Fiendsmith's Tract again.
And that's pretty good. It's able to just get access to another engine here. I don't think there's going to be a response to the Tract. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep, so he's going to add a copy of Fabled Lure to the hand, then has to send a card from his hand to the graveyard. It's going to send the Fabled Lure, special summon back, thanks to its own effect.
I mean, I'm just peeking at Joshua's hand. It seems like it potentially might be a hard counter to the way Jesus has been playing so far. Lurie has hit the field, which usually means we're going to be immediately linking it away into that Fiendsmith Requiem. We'll see if that is what Jesus chooses to do. It looks like that is what's going to happen here. On the Link summon, we're going to be activating Fantastical Dragon Phantasme.
Is Jesus going to chain the Requiem?
Then Phantasme just becomes draw card.
Yeah, just going to draw a card. But it's one less card he gets to see.
Yeah, you don't get to like put cards back. You don't get to see as many cards. And the Malice does have the problem where you don't see Malice monsters sometimes. So being able to fix your hand here is very powerful. Jesus is considering if he wants to make sure that he sees the least amount of cards.
I think I'd rather have them draw one as opposed to draw two and put one back. I think just
Like some people like the feeling of like, oh, they put a card back, that's worse somehow. But like, no, they do see more cards.
Odds are one card in their hand is not as useful. Ooh, Ash Blossom.
Seeing 0 cards is also better. Yeah,
it's going to keep the Phantasme in the hand.
That's fine. Ash is able to resolve, and now Requiem's going to activate, and I think that is going to be met with an Ash Blossom of Joshua's own. There it is.
Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring going to make sure that Jesus cannot summon a Fiendsmith monster from his deck. So this is 2 parts of his strategy cut off thanks to Infinite Permanence and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
Normally Ash is something you want to hold for something along the lines of Emergency, but we know that's not there because Airlifter was negated by Infinite Permanence. And now it looks like the turn will be over for Jesus, and Joshua will be able to have a chance here.
There's no water in this hydrant, and now Josh is going to draw for turn.
Is there a Malice Monster?
And he still has the Phantasma in his hand if things go right, like for Jesus. Like even if nothing bad happens on this turn, he already knows Josh has that Phantasma waiting to try and summon. But he's going to start off with a Ball Drake.
Yeah, not the ideal start here. It looks like a sign of weakness for Joshua.
Yeah, it definitely means I would instantly be able to read he doesn't have a Malice Monster in his hand.
So it seems like he made the right call stopping the Phantasme. And yep, that is it. It's just going to be a Ball Drake attacking into the Airlifter. Jesus still has plenty of chances here. He's going to get another turn. We're going to be normal summoning Droll and Lockbird. Just linking those two away. This is rough. We're going to be going in to Moon of the Closed Heaven, going to be linking away into Fiends with Requiem. Requiem's able to activate. Is there another Ash Blossom from Jesus? Doesn't seem like it. We're going to be able to summon out Lacrima from the deck. Lacrima is going to be able to activate, sending Fiendsmith Engraver.
This is what Jesus was trying to do, but Josh is going uninterrupted.
I mean, this is the benefit of having those Fiendsmith cards in your deck, right? Any two monsters is able to put up a reasonable threat.
Yeah, Droll and Lockbird and Bestial Ball Drake. Not two cards that really work together, but with Moon, they find a way.
There is still a mystery set from Jesus here. Could be anything. Has not had a real opportune moment to use something along the lines of Infinite Impermanence just yet.
I'll go Engraver and put back his Moon.
The Engraver is going to be able to put back the Moon of the Closed Heaven to special summon itself from the graveyard, and now it looks like we're going to be linking those two away into, I imagine, the Fiendsmith sequence. Oh, it looks like just an IP Masquerena. That's surprising. And we're just passing back. I think that signs of another Bestial in hand.
Or the Phantasme.
Yeah, I mean, if you're counting on it, like...
Yeah, but Jesus knows it's there. He's not going to let him summon it. He's going to try and... Is there another copy of Airlifter? That would be the best thing for Jesus right now. Would you make the read that there's another copy of Droll and Lockbird in Joshua's hand since he was so willing to normal summon that the first time?
I mean, I think Droll and Lockbird is just a card that's so weak against Rescue Ace anyway that you don't necessarily have to... And especially like when you're going into the middle of the game, right?
Right.
Droll and Lockbird is a card... I mean, it could have been pretty useful now, but Airlifter hitting the field once again. If that card's able to resolve, that can get you access to everything.
Yeah, this is huge. He'll be able to get the emergency. There's access to Turbulence. He's going to be able to deal with the IP Masquerena, all while not having to let Josh summon that Phantasme from the hand.
Yeah, I mean, now you're just playing a really grindy situation, right? You just want to make sure your opponent has the least amount of options available. You don't necessarily need to win the game outright. You just need to make sure you're playing and your opponent is not.
Yeah, that second copy of Airlifter coming down is huge for Jesus.
We'll see if there is another copy of Droll Lockbird. I mean, he cuts off his own Phantasme. I doubt he would even want to.
I mean, in a grind game like this, I would favor the Rescue Ace monster as long as they're able to keep the steady flow of Rescue Ace monsters. He's contemplating. He's like, should I go to battle phase? Will Jesus forget the Phantasmes in Joshua's hand? I would hope not at this stage in the tournament.
I really doubt anyone would forget in this position.
All right, so he's going to go ahead and activate Emergency before going into the battle phase. Let's see if Joshua has any sort of response. He doesn't.
Chain Forbidden Droplet.
Interesting.
Just to make sure the IP Masquerena is checked, there's no way to really get value out of it now because there are no other monsters for him to link with at this point in the turn.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is playing around there being like another Bestial in hand on top of the Phantasme, as you mentioned. It could be.
Yeah, I think it is pretty understandable that there would be a Bestial. I feel like you wouldn't rely on IP Masquerena with only a Phantasme in your hand.
Right.
You had plenty of other options to make in that situation. You could have just made Sequence.
True. Or SP Little Knight or just anything, yeah. But the emergency is going to summon the Hydrant. Hydrant is going to be able to add a Rescue Ace monster from the deck to the hand.
Likely going to be Turbulence here, especially if you have the read on your opponent's hand being a Bestial and Phantasme. You are free to get as much advantage as you can, and with Hydrant on the field, you are able to activate one of those sets off Turbulence the turn that it's set. And we're going to be activating Lacrima now. Oh, that's, of course, Lacrima also makes IP Revive.
True. So he'll always be able to have that extra monster on the field. But he has the Ash Blossom.
Their Ash Blossom was found here. It had to have been drawn. No, it could have been drawn for turn, right?
It could have.
Because he couldn't do it. Yeah, it had to have been, right?
He would have. He had the second Airlifter already.
Yeah.
So that was a huge top deck here from Jesus.
Yep, and now Turbulence is activating in the hand to banish from the graveyard the Airlifter. Oh, both Airlifters, it seems.
Airlifter.
And Turbulence will be hitting the field And will it be able to activate? It does. There should not be a response at this point. I'm going to be setting, I imagine, alert, rescue, extinguish, and contain. Yep. The 4 classics.
I spelled race. I spelled race.
He did the thing. His opponent's not having it. He's not in the mood.
This is the. That's insane that he pointed it out to his opponent like that, too. He's like trying to have fun while his opponent's like, this is the worst game of my life. Oh, no. He was not happy with that, but that's okay. Turbulence is going to set the force field and traps. Yeah, just resolving Turbulence is still great here in 2025.
I think a +4 is good at any point. If the +4 is not good anymore, I don't want to be here.
All right, so since the Rescue Ace Hydrant is on the field, they'll be able to activate, looks like Alert, the turn it's set, so he's going to be able to add any Rescue Ace monster from the deck to hand. He's going to add Preventer.
Very strong, extremely strong in this matchup, I'd say.
He just has to make sure he doesn't forget that the Phantasme is in Joshua's hand while he is going through the motions here.
I mean, yeah, I think just summoning Preventer, going into the battle phase, and then having it live on your opponent's turn to immediately answer a drawn Malice monster should be able to seal the deal here.
But there's so much more you can do if you link away that Preventer, though.
I think
it's tempting.
He's been playing pretty tight up to this point. I think he understands what he's doing here.
The temptation is there.
I mean, he also has access to Extinguish and Contain. He has all, like...
Yeah, he doesn't need to link summon at all. But think of all the things you can do. The Preventer is going to summon back a monster. You're going to get like an SP Little Knight.
I feel like Rescue Ace is one of those decks very similar to Fire King where it's able to do so much with just very little investment.
Definitely. And yeah, he isn't going to go into the extra deck. Just going to pass turn. We know at least one card in Joshua's hand's not going to do anything. It's a fantastical card, but not in this situation. And yeah, he has nothing. 2 Phantasmes. Ash Blossom. And Jesus is going to take it with his Rescue Ace strategy, moving on with only 2 losses. He is putting himself in prime position to make top 32 with a very unexpected strategy, I believe.
Yeah, one of those that's been a fan favorite for the players in the last few years, but just cycled out with the new, more exciting strategies. But we saw that one can still hold in this current meta.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely incorporates the Fiendsmith cards, so you have that little extra push. I mean, a lot of the times we've been seeing what the Fiendsmith cards are doing with the other strategies are forcing out those interruptions from the opponent to where they can do what they really are trying to achieve with their deck's theme.
Yeah, just really forcing out as much. Because it's not like you can ignore the Fiendsmith cards either. If they're allowed to fully resolve, it's either something along the lines of Caesar, where you're protecting yourself from Nibiru the Primal Being while also having 2 interruptions into your opponent's field, or just a Desiree. All very impactful. And then just being able to set up Lacrima in the graveyard is also just a form of removal on your opponent's turn, so just an even additional interruption going into your plays. And then, again, it's just so many bodies on the field, right? Any 2 monsters get to do all that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw Joshua, like, he just didn't draw his deck there in game number 3. It looked like he was still able to formulate some sort of plan by being able to normal summon the draw and Lockbird. Like, even though he just had the IP Masquerena and the Lacrima in the graveyard, like, his hand wasn't good. It was Phantasme, Ash Blossom, Bestial Baldrake, Draw and Lockbird. I don't know if he drew into the other Phantasme, but those cards usually just don't do anything. Like, you can't really achieve anything. But since he was including the Fiendsmith cards, he was able to turn those 2 monsters into Moon, as you mentioned, and at least put up some form of interruption. But that second copy of Airlifter really pushed things over the edge there for Jesus.
I mean, yeah, not so freshly off the limited list anymore, right? Because it was at some point semi-limited.
Yeah. But now back at 3, it seems.
We see how powerful 2 can be.
Yeah, if you have access to Airlifter, you have access to Emergency, which gives you access to Hydrant, which gives you access to Turbulent, which gives you access to the 4 Rescue Ace spell and trap cards. There's so much you can do. And yeah, I'm excited to see Rescue Ace hopefully in top 32, barring any tiebreakers and people out there with draws and stuff like that. We don't know how many X2s, whether X is the variable for how many rounds you played, 2 would be the amount of losses you have. But I really hope we get to see Rescue Ace in there. I hope. There's been so many different decks. I really don't know what the top 32 is going to shake out. I mean, we're going to find out soon.
Very soon.
Which players it's going to be, what decks they're using. It's going to be some exciting information. I know we're going to see Memento in there. It's been all over the place. I really hope we see a few Tomb Keepers. There's definitely a bunch still out there playing in this round. Mermail Atlantean's going to be another one that we're going to see a lot of. I do think there will be a few of this Bestial Fiendsmith.
The Malice deck.
Yeah, Malice deck. Yeah, I want to, like, it's barely a Malice deck, but That
The
is
mouse
like
cards are doing a lot.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
not
how they
discredit
finish
it.
them off. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's how it's doing most. It's just like everything else is just really secondary to making sure the mouse cards resolve, and that's just where a lot of these decks have become, right? They have a supplementary engine to make sure your main engine gets to do what it wants, and it's been working really well for a lot of strategies here, and we can't count out Ryzeal, right? Ryzeal is still the most popular deck going into this event. Even if we've seen less of it than we usually do, it is definitely here, and it's definitely showing out in numbers, so we'll have to see just how many are in Top Cut.
Yeah, Ryzeal Detonator is still such a strong card. Definitely been the card to beat for the weekend, but yeah, the deck diversity has really impressed me. A lot of times when we get to where a format's been going on for like a significant amount of time, we end up seeing a lot of the same decks over and over, but this one's way different. I mean, we've had 2 new releases, Maze of the Master, Structure Deck Blue Eyes White Destiny, definitely having impact. I know at the start of the day, our Blue Eyes Tombkeeper player, Justin, that we saw yesterday, my favorite deck, we saw yesterday, not of all time, but is still in the tournament. So hopefully we get to see him in Top Cut. But I think Jackie is standing by with our winners for the round, so I'm going to toss it to her and we can hear from Jesus. Take it away, Jackie.
Thank you so much, Billy and Asala. That is correct. I am with Jesus. Yeah, say hi to everybody. Okay, 1 win closer to Top Cut. Explain to me how you're feeling. Describe your emotions for me.
I was super anxious right now. My heart is beating. This Rescue Ace was not really my first choice, but it's a deck I really like to play. And I like to play decks that I like, and if I could do well with it, I'll give it a shot. So.
Yeah, Rescue Ace with a mix of Fiendsmith, right? Tell me why you decided to go with this deck.
Because the Rescue Ace cards are really good into the meta at the moment, but they need a little help with the Fiendsmiths. So it does help with the grind game, and it's just a cool deck, honestly. It's I love the deck a lot, so.
Okay, so you told me you're nervous, but you got to be feeling a little confident. I hear people clapping for you too.
Thank you. It's just I'm just nervous because it's I'm bringing a different deck, but it's not really a meta deck, so.
Hey, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! You never know, right? Also, just a fantastic atmosphere here. It's just absolutely electric. Are you having fun? Is there anything you want to say to anyone at home?
Actually, I've been having fun all day. All my opponents have been cool. The deck I'm playing is really fun, so if I'm having fun, I don't care if I lose, right? But shout out to everyone watching right now, to my brother. Shout out to SYG. Yeah.
Jesus, thank you so much, and congratulations again. Let's send it back to our casters.